Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Paul Brown Show. This evening, returning on my show, I have Miss Lynnette M.Jewell, and she's a radio personality. She's an author, a motivational speaker, business consultant, entrepreneur. Thank you for coming back on the show,
Thank you for
Lynnette.
having me
All
again.
right, tell the audience a little bit about Lynnette.
Well, I am originally from the Washington, D.C. area, so I'm a Washingtonian, which you can't mute D.C. Got to put that out there. I'm born and raised in Southern Maryland, a town right outside of D.C.,
Okay.
and I've been here in Charlotte now for 5 years.
So, what made you decide to come to Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City?
Um, I came here about 20 years ago with some friends. Their godfather, which was Daryl Cody, lived up around Waxhaw.
Okay.
So imagine what 20 years ago what Charlotte looked like, and
Correct.
it wasn't all this. And I just fell in love with it. And I had friends that had family that was in Mebane, if I said it correctly. I'm always butchering that up, but it was just something about it. And I wanted to be close. If I had to ride home with my mom to see my mom, I can get there quickly. And I thought about Atlanta, but Atlanta was like DC, so might as well just stay home. But I love how Charlotte has that snail pace and that accelerating pace, so you can make it what you want. And everything I need is on my side. I'm on the south side, so I don't have to go downtown if I don't have to. And I'm access to 77, 85, it's an easy way to get home. And it's just been peaceful, quiet, and I don't have any family. Well, I have some family here, but when I first moved here, I didn't have anybody here. And when I moved, packed up my truck, had $900, and just rolled. Didn't tell anybody.
So, do you miss
No.
Washington, D.C.? You miss your family and all that? And do you ever think about going back to Washington?
Yes, yes, and no. I miss my family, but I talk to them all and I do go home often. I don't go as much as I used to. The cooking, miss, nothing like Mama's cooking. I miss my crabs and miss my pig feet and stuff like that. So I miss all that good Southern cooking.
Okay.
But sometimes I've been there all my life, and some people don't even know how to leave out. And for us, being in Charles County, going to D.C. was a field trip.
Okay.
So once you venture out, then you keep going. Some went to college, some went to military, got married, moved away. I stayed until I was, 45, I think it was, 45, something like that. Time to go.
Okay.
It was just, I had 3 uncles and stuff that passed from cancer in one household. I was not going to be the next person. And that was just, I made a decision. Like I said, I packed my truck up, had $900, and I ain't been back.
So, how does your family feel about what you're doing right now?
Some are excited, some are still questioning it, and some don't like it. It's more of that, don't tell the family secrets, don't tell, make us look bad and stuff like that. And I have others that are like, finally, like one, you moved, finally you're walking in something that you love doing, because I've always been a helper, always loved helping people. So they see it as a way to do what I love doing. And others are like, I can't believe you just left. Oh, you just doing this to me and blah, blah, blah. This ain't about you. This is about me living, because I felt like I was dying being back at home.
How do you deal with haters in your life, not only back then, but right now, especially right now?
Oh, I do this. Hey, haters, thank y'all.
Ah.
When I give a shout out to family and friends, I make sure I shout out my haters.
Yeah.
Because of them, I'm where I'm at now.
Correct.
You didn't break me. You didn't get me. Okay, I'm sorry. You didn't break me and you didn't get me. So keep on doing what you're doing, because it's working. I've seen the times where people allow haters to stop everything. I remember one of my friends had a topic on her show, who are our dream killers. And a lot of times it is our parents and it's our friends and family. But when we get all that in the ear and we store it here, we are our own dream killers, because we heard what they all said. So what I do is I just go head on and just keep moving. I don't let it stop me. Some people tell them, don't y'all have a hobby or something? Because you evidently, the more you keep coming after her, is the more she's going to keep going. So I look at that as a shining moment and just keep pressing forward. So thank you. And I give them all praise. Thank y'all, my hater nation.
As a motivational speaker, how do you tell your audience how to handle haters, especially when they're starting to get to that point whereas they're starting to see success in their life? And a lot of people, misery like company.
Yes. One, you have to address that you have haters. Some people believe that don't nobody hate them. They just loved by everybody. Once you come to a point in your life where you're saying, I have haters, I have naysayers, you're going to have moments where you want to give up, but that's when you put yourself around people that are doing this, that see stuff that you may not see, and they push you forward, and they tell you to keep going, that you're successful. I love what you said. Just those little bit of things, if you believe it within, and that's the main thing. You have to see it, and you have to believe it. For so many years, I put so much stuff on a shelf, or I was around it, but never thought I could be in the center of it. So I just stayed on the outside, watching and learning and doing and watching and doing, to a point where I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, I had people to call me, am I in the book you want to be? Are you going to talk about me on the show? Do you want me to talk? Buy the book. I'll take your money. Watch the show. I'll take the ratings. I take the viewers.
Correct.
If you don't want to watch it, then turn it off. If you don't want to buy the book, then don't buy it, and then don't question about it. But if you want to see what's in it, it's not about you. It's about my healing, but you're part of the problem. I could have dropped names. I could drop names in my next book. But what, am I miss my blessing? By giving them you got your 15 minutes of fame, you blasting folks on social media, you're doing all this stuff, but in the back end, you're the one that got the problem.
Correct.
Or you're hating about what I'm doing. I tell anybody, you can have your own show. There's tons of space for us to do it. You can write a book, but make sure the book is about you and your helping and your healing. Because nobody's going to want to read a book that's just about you. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
When you're doing this type of stuff, there's going to be those people that wanted, shoulda, coulda, but I didn't. Stay away from those. Learn from what they did, but then move forward, but put yourself around positive people and mentors that see your gift and your talent and know how to pick the pieces and put it together.
Okay, for our viewing audience who may not know how a hater look, describe a hater.
Your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your best friend, your co-worker, your pastor, your church person, your choir member, the musician, the store clerk, the police officer, the firefighter, the doctor, the nurse. It could be anybody that's walking around here looking just like you. You could be your own hater. It could be you. Look into the mirror. Michael Jackson's song says, "The man in the mirror."
Correct.
We don't look at that until something goes wrong, and the first thing you're gonna do, Lord, why? And you can't look at yourself in the mirror. You can't look at it's almost like, hate to say like with Dracula, vampire can't see his own shadow. Not saying that we're vampires, but if you can't see your own shadow, there's something wrong with you. You gotta be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I got them, they're here, or what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna feed into it, or you're gonna keep on moving. I'm one of the ones, if I build something and you try to tear it down, I'm going to keep pushing and keep fighting because that's my project. That's my baby. And I'm going to keep fighting. And I'm going to keep pissing you off. Come on, keep coming along with me. Build my audience. Build my book sales up. Come on. Flood my speaking engagement when it's time to come. Come on. I want you. And my thing I'm saying now, we say that revenge is mine, saith the Lord.
Correct.
Well, I just got a little bit of holding on, and my hold on is just this. If you're sweating, you're shaking, and you're trembling, the magnitude of what you actually did to me, God's going to take care of that. But I'm like, Lord, I like to see them sweat. That's just so, because they don't know what's going to come out my mouth. They don't know what's in my book. They don't know what topics I'm going to talk about. So I'll take that little bit, that trembling, that shaking, that sweating. Ooh, that's so good. He can handle the rest. But that's just a little bit, because of what they did to me, y'all tried to kill me. And I didn't allow y'all to kill me. And I'm still moving forward, and there's nothing you can do but watch the back, because I'm going forward.
Correct. I know on the previous show you talked about that you have a therapist. Why is it so important to have a therapist, and why do a lot of people they don't want to talk about what's going on in their lives?
I had an incident in October. My boyfriend and I were going through some stuff, and it got really bad. And I used to go to therapy years ago when we was at our church, and the topic was Daddy's Girl. And the pastor asked us, if you could describe your father as an animal, what would you describe him as? And I said a rabbit snake. My parents were separated, but they never divorced. Back in the day, they just said to stay together. They just stayed together. And my father was hot back in our life because he was shifted around when he was younger. So he never knew what it meant for a solid family. Now, I already said that I was living in a house with my grandmother, aunts, uncles, and everybody in the house. So that was the core family. So when he would come back in our lives, he would stay and curl up like a snake and enjoy the family, just like he never left. Just like they still married, but it's like nothing changed.
Correct.
And then when he got too comfortable, he would cause a disturbance, and he would slide right back out my life. And right after that, I started going to therapy, and I did wasn't like a visionary board, but was a big circle of darkness. And the center of it was my mother. And everything that was going on, the arrows and everything came back to my mother. And it just, as of this year, for me going to therapy in October, and I still go, that within my book, I could only write 2 lines, dedication to my mom.
Okay.
And my mom just turned 80. And I told her years ago what happened to me, and she didn't believe me. And then when I talked to other friends their parents are teachers and stuff, we talked, stuff happened to them, and they didn't believe, so I wasn't alone. But it took me this year to realize that it looked like I hated my mother because our relationship was like oil and water with fire. That it's not that I hated her, it's that I didn't think that she protected me.
Okay.
She wasn't there for me. She's out there teaching other kids. And it took me this year that I was able to write a letter to her for her birthday. Now that's part of my dedication because I never thought that. And so we're working on it. We have our moments, but it's to a point where it's an understanding starting to happen. But for years, you would thought that I really hated my mom and she'll do the world and everything for me. But it was that little part that when stuff was happening to me right underneath y'all's noses, right underneath grandma's noses, you did not protect me.
Okay.
So going to therapy has put all that stuff together where I found out that I'm coming from being a victim of domestic violence and family violence to a point where I am now an abuser because of the words that I say. Words are abusive, but we don't think that we are at fault.
Correct.
So when the incident happened in October, my friends that really know me said, "What did you do?" Not what he did. Now, we're not dismissing what he did, but what did I do? And I had a reality check to where my girlfriend and my mom said, which is not a joke, but what they said was, "Dang, we had known that this would happen, we'd probably smack you on the other side. Maybe we need to come to wake you up if this would take to wake you up." I said, ho, now. We ain't going to be doing no more of that.
Correct.
But it had me, what did I say? What did I do? So, Paul, if you're at 100, I need to know that the boundary line is at 100. I need to know not to cross that line. My plane may not be playing to you.
Okay.
So I need to know when to cut it off, when to stop, and know my boundaries and staying in my lane. Because not everybody's in control over their 100.